Welcome to the Galactic Mayan Weather Report. So I'm coming to you today on what's known as the Blue Resonant Night, which is the archetype that is at the center of the 13 days of the red Earth Wavespell. So what does this mean? Essentially, we are going through a phase right now about really learning how to trust in synchronicity, to learn to navigate not by our intellectual mind deciding how we get from here to there, but trusting in the flow, trusting that there is a galactic ordering dynamic that is coordinating and organizing the experiences, the perfect experiences that match where you are at right now, that will help you get to where you are going. So navigating evolution through synchronicity. So often when you're going through a wave spell like this, life will challenge you to surrender your control. Not to become a victim to the world and just kind of flop around, but to let go of trying to control how life will manifest itself, but rather bring yourself really present. Red Earth Wavespell, it's the Earth Wavespell. Just like the plants and animals that exist on this time-ship Earth, they don't sit and think about how they're going to live each day. They learn to slow down and listen to their environment. If you look at a snake, the way it uses a tongue to taste the frequencies, you have different insects and animals, they have different ways of tapping into the Earth's language in order to know where to be, when to be, how to be, and what to do. And that's how they survive. Now, us humans, we have this mind that is very active and we have an incredible capacity to create and to do. We are cosmic artists in these bodies. We are God flowing through us. And we are able to do so much. And that's a blessing and a curse, because it means that when we see this greater vision of where we're heading, there's a tendency to say, thanks cosmos, thanks God, thanks life, thanks whatever your belief system is, I've got it from here. And so that brings me to today's theme, the Blue Resonant Night. The Blue Night is the archetype of the dreamer. And what this is speaking to us is it's saying that if you want to resonate with the earth, if you want to be in flow with synchronicity and to allow yourself to navigate through synchronicity, the key on an emotional plane is to always stay tapped in to the greater dreaming, to your personal greater dreaming and the collective dreaming. And what I mean by that is, when you move through life, there's a feeling that's pulling you, and the more we begin to wake up in this world, the more sensitive we become, the more we begin to feel that. And that can be quite painful sometimes when we go through this kind of spiritual awakening, is we become more and more aware of where our heart is taking us. But then we also become aware of the mind's logic saying, but you can't get there from here. So what we're saying is that right now is a really important time to not get caught up in the details of how you're going to create the life you want to live. But today especially, and through this red Earth Wavespell, it's really important to take some time to really slow down and allow yourself to dream. And when I talk about dreaming, not just about often we'll say, what's your dream? How do you want it to see? And we can say things like, I could imagine living in a beautiful community where there's an abundance and everyone gets along and there's peace, love and light and all these things. And we often have very idealistic ideas and then we put mental constructs around those things and we say how it's going to look. And paradoxically, sometimes when we define our dreams too much by what we see and have now, we can actually create a bit of a resistance, a bit of a cage around how it can turn out. And so, those who know me know I'm a big fan of Abraham Hicks, the channelings of Abraham. Jerry and Esther Hicks, Esther now sticking around bringing these messages through, and they really focus on this concept of the law of attraction, which I find is quite a misunderstood concept. And I really wanted to bring this into this weather report because it's a really important concept, this law of attraction, and how we create our reality, how we allow our dreams move from the vortex, from this kind of etheric space, and we bring them down into our reality? How do we turn them from the dream time of the indigenous, where we can tap in and feel that this is a reality that's coming? How do we bring them in and make it part of our day-to-day reality? And one of the catches that we get is, when you listen to Abraham's channelings around the law of attraction, she'll often go on about this, that when I ask you, what are your dreams? What is your greatest dream? How could you imagine living? Often what people do is they start, again, like going through the description of how it looks. There's an abundance, there's plenty of money around, or lack of money, and there's plenty of whatever we need. There's freedom, there might be a big house, it might be a fast car, or a beautiful relationship, and we begin to define how it looks. And we kind of focus on this mental activity of defining your dream. What's really interesting is if you slow down and pay attention to what happens in your body when you do that. Take, for example, if we said, I want to win the lotto. I want to win the lotto. I want to win $10 million, because if I had $10 million, speaking about me now, if I had $10 million, I could use that money to create the life for myself and my family where I could be living and thriving, and then offering so much more to the community and the world around me. So I'm identifying a dream, I'm identifying something which could help facilitate this freedom and this experience. Now, what's the first thing that begins to happen inside my body? There's a resistance, because my mind is straight away reacting to that dream. My mind, my emotions are feeling restricted because I don't have it now. Because when I have that contrast of talking about a future potential, it also brings me into awareness of what I don't have now. And when you begin to think about what you don't have, it begins to kind of tighten up a little bit in your emotional body, and you begin to think, yeah, but I don't have that, and what's the chances of winning the lotto? Because then the logical brain begins to try and define, how can I get from here to winning the lotto? How can I get from here to $10 million? How can I get from here to that freedom? And my mind cannot see a pathway. All my mind sees is roadblocks, is speed humps, is challenges. My mind then says, stop dreaming. That's the key. We've been conditioned from a young age, right? Stop daydreaming, kid. Pay attention. You've got to work hard, Just accept it. Accept the limitation, because look, some are lucky, some aren't. Just deal with it. We've got all this kind of conditioning that we've got from a young age in our society that we have to deal with when we're trying to tap into our dreams. And so the blue resonant night comes in and says, there's a missing piece of the puzzle here, which resonates with Abraham's message around the law of attraction. It works on the emotional plane, and it speaks about feeling your dream. What does your dream feel like? Now, this is a really big difference. Not what does your dream look like, what does your dream feel like? How does it feel? How does it feel to have that freedom? Is it really the $10 million that I want? It's not really. That's just a piece of the puzzle to get me towards something. What I want is that feeling of creative freedom. That's for me personally. I want that feeling of nourishment, that feeling of abundance, that feeling of excitement in every moment, that when something arises in me with passion, I have the resources and the ability and the know-how and the capacity to express it. And I want that feeling of security, of not having to worry about these things. And what does that feel like then? So even then I'm starting to go off into describing it again. We don't need to describe it. We do not need to tell anybody what our dream looks like. But what we need to do is bring that feeling from the future, when we have our dream, bring that in now. Let's time travel to the future when you have manifested that dream. When we live in a world of peace and love, if that is your dream, whatever your dream is, then instead of trying to think about it, slow down and see if you can bring that feeling, and just close your eyes. And just start feeling, what would it feel like to have that freedom? What would it feel like to have that human connection, that intimacy with your family, your friends, your lover, your whoever it is? And even as I'm saying that, I can feel right now the wind beginning to blow, and I can feel it on my skin. And suddenly all the words disappear. And right now I just had a taste right here in front of you of the feeling of my future. Something so pure beyond words. To be me. To be so human and so connected to this reality, so connected to Pachamama and the spirit in this land, the wind, the rain, the earth, the love, the passion, the touch. To have this connection, to be human fully, to be here and now. And then I suddenly realize I don't need to win the lotto. My dream's alive right now. I am the most abundant human being I know of. I'm blessed beyond words. Even when I don't have lots of money. Even when I've actually got a car whose battery just ran out and I'm going to have troubles getting that thing started tomorrow. Even in all these challenging times, I'm blessed beyond words. I'm human. I'm alive. And I'm going to be grateful for that. And I encourage you to stop fighting against what you don't have. And stop looking at what is stopping you from being able to manifest your dreams in this reality. Because the more you look at those things, the more you give life force to them, the more you lock them into your reality. And it's not to be ignorant and reckless, but just stay tuned to the feeling that you are aiming for, the feeling you want in your life, the way you dream your world to be. What does that feel like? And if it's a fast car, you know, maybe it's a sports car, you know. I've always wanted one of those beautiful, powerful, you know, these beautiful Teslas, Tesla Roadster, the new ones. They're exquisite, you know. And you can sit there feeling bad for that. Oh, I shouldn't have this and that and everything else. But what if there's abundance for everyone? What if there's a capacity for everyone to have everything? You know what we'll find out? Not everyone wants that car. A lot of people want other things. And now, so if I want to manifest that car in my life, then I don't want to focus on the car itself. I don't want to define the car. What I want to do is imagine sitting in that car and feeling the power, feeling myself putting my foot on that throttle, starting it up, feeling the hum of this electric vehicle, and feeling this freedom of moving, the wind coming through the window, the music playing, feeling the pull of the torque of this engine as it pulls me forwards, and feeling the exhilaration in my body, this feeling of being alive, and just focusing on creating that feeling in this moment. And then that feeling is what connects into this collective mind, this noosphere, and is what organizes, coordinates with all the other moving parts of this reality to bring that feeling into my existence in a more permanent way. And the interesting thing is, it might be the car, or maybe right now, I'm just using that idea of that vehicle to be the vehicle to tap into a feeling, to tap into a dream. And the universe actually knows a much better way of providing that for me that I don't know about yet. And so this is the thing about the blue resonant night. When you try to work it out with your mind, how on earth can you possibly know what is possible tomorrow? What is possible next year? What is possible in 5 years, the way the world is changing? We cannot know that. All we can know is what is now. So leave that up to the universe and allow yourself, at least for this 13 days of the red earth, to tap into the feeling of the dream of the life you want to live, and give yourself full creative expression for that to be anything you want. Do not let any spiritual kind of dogmas and things tell you what it can or can't be. Do not let any kind of moralistic dilemma from your childhood tell you whether that's okay or not. Let go of it all and let yourself dream the dream of children, and let that innocence open up and just feel the magnificence of potential, and let the universe do the rest. And then what happens is you'll find that divine inspiration begins to arise within your being in a way that you can't help but act on. The pathway will show itself step by step and take you the most efficient way forwards. And sometimes the universe will need to take you on a journey to really discover your own self-worth. And sometimes it will be challenging. Sometimes it will actually need you to realize that life is not so serious by making you fall over. And sometimes it'll make you do that again and again, depending on how tight you hold on to control. So relax, find the beauty in everything. Find the beauty in suffering. Find the beauty in joy. Find the beauty in all of it. And it's tough sometimes. And when it gets tough, use your breath. It's the friend of the earth. And if you keep breathing deep, bring yourself into the here and now, tap into that feeling of this dream, this life you want, and just trust that sooner or later you're going to find your way there. Easy is right. And so before I close off this weather report, which is turning to a fairly long one, I just want to let you know that we're coming to the end of the 13 moon calendar year. So the Mayan dream spell count follows a 13-month year that begins on July 26th. So we're beginning a new year on July 26th of the red cosmic moon, which is finishing off 13 years of purification, this whole collective and all of us have been going through. And so I invite you to click on the link that's below this sharing, and it's a registration link to an online webinar that I'm sharing on Wednesday the 25th of July, so that's next week, Wednesday. And if you click that, pop your name and email in, and then you'll get an email with the instructions on how to log in to take part in that webinar, where I'm going to talk about the themes of the year we've closed, the themes of the year we're opening, and we're going to do a 20-minute guided meditation to connect into the collective heart and really share the love and do our part in helping to raise the frequency as we move forward into a new year. So that's going to be really exciting, really looking forward to that. So make sure click that link and register, and I'll see you there. So much love in Lakesh.